welcome for all of you who are tuned in. You're watching TMH as we present you our daily English news. Our headlines for today: AU invites the government of Tigray to peace talks that are slated to be held starting Sunday in South Africa. General Tzadkan says the Tigray war is a regional conflict with far-reaching consequences for the whole of the entire Horn of Africa. And Radio France International reports that the Eritrean Air Force has in fact conducted airstrikes within the Tigray region. As we move on to our main updates for today, the African Union invites the government of Tigray to peace talks slated to be held starting Sunday in South Africa. AU Commission Chairperson Moussa Faki sent a letter to President of the National Regional State of Tigray, Debretsion Gebremichael, inviting his government to talks to be convened within the context of the ongoing AU-led peace process for Ethiopia. And according to this letter, the peace talks between the two parties is expected to deliberate on the guiding principles, agenda issues, modalities, format, and timelines for the negotiated settlement aimed at laying the foundation for a structured and a sustained mediation between the federal government of Ethiopia and the government of Tigray towards what hopes to be a durable resolution of this ongoing conflict. The AU Commission chairperson said the peace talks will be facilitated and led by Olusegun Obasanjo, who is the AU High Representative for the Horn of Africa, with the support of a panel of distinguished and eminent Africans as well. Former President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Famzile Miabo Ngugi, member of the AU panel of the wise and former Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, will serve as the panelists for the ongoing peace talk process. While appreciative of your avowed commitment to peace and stability in Ethiopia, I look forward to your timely response and a constructive engagement at these talks, said Moussa Faki in the letter he wrote to Tigray's President, Debretsion Gebremichael. General Tzadkan says the ongoing war on Tigray is a regional conflict with far-reaching consequences for the entire Horn of Africa. Member of Tigray's Central Command, General Tzadkan Gebretensei, made the remark in a conversation he had with African Heritage Foundation, a think tank. Tzadkan said this.
This war is, in my opinion, a regional war. It has extremely far-reaching implications. If they get their way, the whole geopolitical landscape will change. Isaias will be the boss of the region. He has already brought Abiy Ahmed into his pocket. Abiy Ahmed doesn't have any other alternative except obey what Isaias has tell him. It is public secret that Isaias' next target is the Sudan. So the whole region, if Isaias could break the resistance of EDF and the Tigrayan people, he is out to dominate the region and implement his version of governance, which is very much known. I don't need to go into that detail. So this is the consequence. And on the other hand, if the Tigrayan resistance prevails, there will be a chance for the region to restructure the whole politics in a way that benefits the general public, all Ethiopians, including Eritreans as well.
General Tzadkan Gebretensei also expressed that Tigray government's interest and commitment to reach a cessation of hostilities agreement that will eventually lead to a credible and impartial peace process. The general added, however, that the cessation of hostilities agreement will not work unless the spoilers who are masterminding the war at the behest of the Ethiopian government are told to go out and leave this conflict. Radio France International reports that the Eritrean Air Force conducted airstrikes within the Tigray region. According to RFI, the Eritrean government that invaded Tigray last week sent its Air Force to be bombarding Tigray towns and cities. The radio, based on Eritrean aviation sources, reported that Eritrean Air Force's MiG-29s have carried out at least 4 sorties of Tigray in 1 week. The bombardment of residential areas at Adidaro by the Eritrean forces has killed at least 5 civilians last Tuesday. In related news, the Eritrean government has stepped up forcible recruitment in Eritrea. And according to journalist Amanuel Germay of Radio Erana, reporting that the Eritrean government is undertaking the forced recruitment under the pretext of blood donation campaign to support its war efforts. A military observer indicates that the Eritrean troops, which threaten the east of Tigray capital Mekelle by the Afar region, have in fact retreated in the most recent days. The Catholic Eparchy of Adigrat calls for an end to brutal attacks on the civilians within the Tigray region and the siege starvation threatening the existence of 7 million people. Bishop of the Catholic Eparchy of Adigrat, Abuna Tesfaselassie Medhin, issued a statement in which he urged all Catholic networks and partners and the national and international religious leaders, respective UN agencies, governments, and the rest of the international community to condemn these brutal genocidal acts. The bishop said the international community should exercise its moral duty to be a voice for the voiceless, enforce international treaties to save more than 7 million lives from completely vanishing. He particularly called for a step to the indiscriminate shelling and the bombardment of innocent civilians as well. Abuna Tesfaselassie also called for an urgent and unfettered humanitarian access to all parts of the Tigray region and the complete restoration of all basic services. The Catholic Eparchy of Adigrat, which itself is living through the extremely painful genocidal situation within the Tigray region, reconfirmed its commitment to stand in solidarity with all of the people who are going through an inexplicable suffering in Tigray and across the country as large. That concludes our news for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.